Greetings. Today we will talk about the case of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon and how I found out where they were and where the night photos were taken. Let's get into their stories. Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon were two students from the Netherlands. They went on a 6-week trip to Panama to explore and to learn Spanish and to teach in a local school English. When they arrived, they were actually rescheduled which they didn't understand why, and they said in the journals that the schools were pretty unfriendly to them, and so they had 1 week to spare basically, and they figured, let's go on hikes. They even hired a guide called Feliciano, and because this area where they were in Bukit, it's a lot of mountain ranges, a lot of hiking trails, a lot of hiking opportunities. And on one day, the April 1st of 2014, they decided, let's go on a short hike to a mountain lookout point called El Mirador. And basically when you're up there at El Mirador, this picture is actually from El Mirador, you can see the both seas, the Caspian Sea and the Pacific. You can see them both. This is pretty high, and you can see the both seas from this mountaintop. But they didn't return. What happened to them is still unknown, although their body remains were found, some of them. The mystery lies in what happened to them, and let's get into it. This is actually their last picture that they took on this day, because their camera was even recovered, but we will get into that later. This was the last picture they took. This is one the picture from El Mirador, and this picture is basically if you go further into the jungle. This is very important to know. This is when you go on that same path, Il Pianista, but if you go further, if you go straight into the jungle, into the depths of the jungle. And then the strange things start to happen. These pictures are taken in the night of the 8th of April. They were 8 days in the middle of the jungle. These pictures are very, very disturbing when you think about these girls were like fully lost for 8 days with no help or no hope. Search teams were searching, search and rescue, Sinaproc, and some locals tried to help. But we will get into that, why they were on the wrong path, because I myself found probably where they were. So basically, let's focus on the picture in the bottom left corner. You can see a clear SOS sign made out of paper. I would assume a diary, because some pieces of paper have notes written on them. And you can see a Pringles tube, the bottom of a Pringles tube, which is used as a reflective surface. And this gives us an indication how big this SOS sign is, and that this SOS sign is really, really small. When you think about that, the bottom of the tube of an Pringle chips is like 4 centimeters, 2.5 inches, something like that. Like, this is really, really small. So I think the biggest issue is the size of the rock, because they had enough of paper, as you can see, but the rock kind of ends there. So they were in a rocky environment. Let's focus on this picture. This picture is very interesting because at the first glance, it doesn't show us anything relevant. It shows like a stick, like a branch with plastic wrapped around it. What this plastic isn't actually clear. I have some theories what it could have been, because I was in the Balkans, and there they wrap meat around in such plastic, in red plastic. So what this plastic isn't clearly visible. But what is visible, if you turn up the brightness, and I'm going to show you a video how you can do it yourself, you can see a cable structure in the back, and you can see on the left side of the picture a body of water. And if you remember, their last picture was taken near a river. So this is probably not 100% likely, but this is probably the same river that they took the last picture in, as you can see. So let's talk now about where their bodies and where their items was found. This is a very, very good map which shows where those things are found. On the left side, you can see Lisanne's boot with a foot in it that was found, which is pretty gruesome. And you can see Kris's boot that was just empty found there. And you can see a pelvis. The pelvis was from Kris, a pelvis bone. This is very, very strange. And the backpack. And all of them were found at the exact same river. So if you add one 2021. It's probably very, very likely that they were next to a river, or that these pictures and their last remaining spots were taken near a river. We will get into that. I love drawing maps, so I drew a map of this area. And this helps us really, really much, because I try to do a map, because then we can look for patterns. So basically, we have the last picture, which was near a body of water. We have the Il Pianista trail. This was the trail that they planned to take. Then we have El Mirador, the lookout point, and the last picture was taken near a body of water or near a river. So I figured to myself, why were they going further, and why were they visiting the river? And why did they make pictures of the river? Because they made a lot of pictures, but has this meaning? And the remains were found next to a river. So this is the last picture. This was a picture taken shortly before, and this is then I googled for anything related to Il Pianista and this river, and I found something very interesting. There's actually a Cascada El Pianista hidden waterfall. On this route, some locals know about it. There's a hidden waterfall, and I've read somewhere that they knew about this waterfall, but I'm not sure. And I also found this website pretty awkwardly. It jumped up, but here is there is a river. Maybe they went and searched for the river. Maybe this wasn't planned, because they were really lightly dressed, as you can see. But maybe they figured to themselves, yeah, this waterfall is very, very close to the river. And their phones were also found, and the phone information showed us that they used Google Maps when they were on El Mirador. And this is like a strange coincidence, because why would you use Google Maps when you have no internet connection? They didn't have any connection up there. Why would you use Google Maps still? Possibly to see where they will go further. Very interesting. Let's talk about these two maps, which are pretty interesting. On the left side of the map, we are going to use this one a lot to figure out where they were. The yellow dots are points of interest, like Mirador, where a picture was taken, where the jeans was found, where the shorts and the shoe and the pelvis were found. The blue triangles are the locations where they took pictures, and orange triangles are the cable bridges. On the right side of your screen, you can see the distance they could have went if they went 2 kilometers an hour on that speed. And here you can see if they went 1.5 kilometers an hour, how far they would have come. The red lines represent the search parties. The red lines are probably where they weren't. 100% they weren't, because the search parties use dogs, and dogs can pick up smells and everything. So they were probably very far away from those search parties. And let's look at my theory, because when I looked at this map, it clicked. As you can see, the jeans were found under and near a monkey bridge. You get the connection? Last picture contains a monkey bridge. Jeans were found near a monkey bridge. And this is near water. And all of the remains and everything of them were found near water. So this is pretty likely to be the case that they were there. And then, obviously, I wanted to test it, because a lot of these YouTubers, what I watched, they do all kinds of theories, all kinds of wild stuff, but they don't do anything really solid. Now let's look at the real data. The Il Pianista, from 11 to 13 o'clock, they needed for 2 miles, 1 hour and 50 minutes. And you have to think about that the 2 miles they were going up a mountain. And I call this one the route 2. They were going down a mountain. So you're much faster going down a mountain than going up. And in the route 2, I will also say this route isn't correct, because this route ends to the complete end. It ends to the 3rd cable bridge. It doesn't stop at the 2nd cable bridge, because I couldn't figure out where exactly the 2nd cable bridge was, so I wanted to go sure. and this route goes to the far away the river crossing. This is where this route takes, and to the river crossing you need 3.8 miles or 3 hours and 30 minutes. They had that time left to reach there, because at 16 o'clock, 16:39, they called the emergency teams. They tried to call, but they had no signal. So what do we know? There were the jeans found, monkey bridge on the picture, and it fits into the how far they would have come. It fits in, and it also fits and solidifies that there were no search parties there. So we have a lot of combinations which work. Also, no, this was the first location where any remains were found. The other remains are downstream. So this also verifies and solidifies this theory. What we also have, what's pretty interesting, is why did they do this? Why did they went down there? This makes no sense. What I personally think is they probably tried to look for the waterfall, and then they got lost, and they figured they were going down the right side of the mountain, but they were going down the wrong side of the mountain. This is probably what happened. They figured to themselves, yeah, let's go down, probably there is some civilization, but there wasn't. Anything else makes no sense. And probably they got lost. They figured they went too far down, and they figured, oh no, we're too far down, let's call help and let's stay there. Probably maybe they stayed there because of two reasons. Maybe they stayed there because they didn't know how to come back, and they found shelter there, and they figured, yeah, this is a route, there's a monkey bridge, probably people go here. Probably we will meet somebody. So this is why they put the SOS sign on the rock and the branch with the plastic on the rock. So people, when they cross the monkey bridge, would see them. And probably they had water there, so it's good. People are going to come there, probably. So this makes a lot of sense, because the other theories that I've heard, this makes no sense. This one makes a lot of sense. They were there, they were waiting when someone passes. They were trying to get help. They had water near. Everything, they didn't want to risk it to go back. Maybe someone was hurt, maybe someone fell off the monkey bridge, is also a possibility, but we don't know. But this is, I think I could guarantee that they were at that point. If anyone was there, if there's a video out there or a photo how this section looks, where the second monkey bridge or cable bridge is, how you want to call it, please send it in the comments. Put the link down there, because this is really interesting, and probably the place where they died, and then their bodies got washed off and dismembered and dislocated in this river. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments, any thoughts, leave them down below. I will be sure to respond to them. See you next time on Thoughts of Mine.